We're building my sea life installation. The title is From an Ancient Seabed. And when we're all done, it's going to be spectacular, I hope. All right. Okay. Hi, I'm Alan Keck, and I'm also known as the Clay Whisperer on my YouTube channel. This installation behind me is my interpretation of and my rendition of an ancient seabed from millions of years ago. And this seabed was under a shallow ocean that was on a hump in the ocean that at one day in the far, far future would become the state of Florida. And this is my artistic interpretation of what sea life was like millions of years ago. I took some liberties and made up some of my own sea life. Some of my favorite pieces are clams with rattlesnake tails and seagrass of all colors, octopus that live in symbiotic relationships with clams, tube worms that have saucer-like appendages on them. So I like to create my own life of what I imagined it to be millions of years ago. And it's been a lot of fun for me. I was born and raised in Dodge City, Kansas. Now when you're out in western Kansas, out in Dodge City, Kansas, you're about as far away from any large bodies of water as you can get. When I was growing up in the 1950s, we had just 2 television channels. Fortunately for me, one of the channels on Sunday night had Jacques Cousteau's Wonderful World of Jacques Cousteau, or the Undersea World of Jacques Cousteau. And I got introduced to undersea filming. And Jacques Cousteau was one of the original inventors of the aqualung. And he had a wonderful program that just captured my imagination, and all of the colors and the life forms and everything that I got to see every Sunday night was just a mind blower for me. And then that was followed by Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color and the Wonderful World of Disney. And you add those things together and it just spurred my imagination that lasted a lifetime. And it affected the artwork I've done just about my whole life. And you know, it was so wonderful nowadays that all you have to do is go on to Google and look up undersea life, and you get to see all kinds of wonderful, beautiful things that live and grow underneath the sea, of all colors and textures. Well, those are the things that informed me and my motivation. And then when I became an adult and I had the opportunity to teach both ceramics and glass blowing at Emporia High School in Emporia, Kansas. I was one of the very few people in the United States that had an opportunity to teach glass blowing in a high school. There's only about 3 or 4 locations in the whole country that have glass blowing in a high school. And I was fortunate enough to be able to teach at one of them. And I was hired primarily as a potter and a ceramics teacher. You know, I had well over 100 kids a semester that I was teaching in clay, and I had about 20 glass blowers. And it was just a great experience. When I started, I had no experience blowing glass. So I learned as I went, and I had a good friend, his name was Hal Berger, And he grew up with me out in Dodge City, and he was a professional glass blower. So I got to go over to his studio, watch what he was doing, go out to my school and practice it at night, and teach it the next day. And over the years, I learned how to blow glass. People will look at it and they'll say, "Oh, Chihuly." Well, Dale Chihuly was a great influence on all glass blowers. But Dale Chihuly's work he has glass blowers that do his work. His work was not in any kind of context. He just did individual pieces that were very much ocean life looking pieces. But I took it to another level, for me anyway, and I created an environment. And all of these pieces, when I made them, the intent was to incorporate them in this reef. And this is the second time I've been able to put the whole thing together. And, you know, it's always pretty, very apprehensive when you put something together like this. You're not sure it's going to meet your vision or not. It came out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. And it really came to life when I got all the art pieces in it. And it's just been, it was a joy to work on. I had several of my students here at the Venice Art Center. That's where we're at. That's where I teach ceramics. Several of my students helped me assemble it, move all the parts in, build the structures, and we got it installed in about 4 days, which is actually a day more than I thought it would take. But this is the first day it's been complete, and I'm pretty happy with it. Hopefully, people will see this and go, "Wow, I have never seen anything like this before." And I hope that people who love the sea, especially those people who are scuba divers and snorkelers, and people who get out and dive down to where the action is, the reefs and all the sea life, I hope when they see this reef that they'll look at it and go, "Wow, I've been there. I've seen that." And I hope all those people who aspire to someday maybe be able to take a dive themselves will think to themselves, "Boy, I hope I get to go there someday and see this for myself in real life." And I've had that reaction before from scuba divers. They've told me, "Well, I swear I've been to that reef. And man, did that make my day, you know." So it's pretty exciting for me. Some of the clay pieces, I call these sand dollars, but they're a little different. And they've got like sea life vines that grow across them from one to another. Then there's fan coral. Right over here, there's a stingray just hovering above the surface. And right beside that is the mother of pearls. There's the mother clam with the baby clams all in a cluster around her. The title piece is this tall one. And it was one of the early pieces. The title is "From an Ancient Seabed." And this is the piece right here. And it's got a clam beside it on a bed of barnacles. The clam with long tentacles shooting in. There's lots of seagrasses around. And barnacles. Got tube worms around on this side that come in different shapes. Here's another one with saucers. There's some down here with pink tentacles, and one right over there. Usually there'll be at least two of a kind in the life that's in the sea, the reef. There's a red eel on the rocks right here, with another red eel on the other side of the valley. A starfish clam. Lots of little sea urchins that grow up out of the ocean floor. There's an octopus that has a symbiotic relationship with a clam, along with that one over here. And then one of my favorite pieces is this clam that has a rattlesnake tail coming off the back. That was fun to do. Here is a clam with a rattlesnake tail. Comes off the back of it. And here's another version of a clam with a rattlesnake tail. The clam with the tail that swoops around. And there's a little rattle on the bottom. Tube worms. And generally sea life of all kinds. These are like sea urchins. Here are the clear ones. And there's so much color in the ocean. And, you know, some animals are clear. Some animals are very bright color. So I tried to incorporate that and everything. There's it's worked out very well. This is meant to be a piece to be seen by the public in a place like the Venice Art Center on permanent display, or a place like our new hospital out on Laurel Street here in Venice. Brand new hospital, beautiful hospital. And this piece represents Florida. And so I'd really love for that to be its original home, out at the hospital. But you never know. About these works of art are the photograph, because the photograph can be published in a magazine that might sell 100,000 copies and be turned over 6 or 7 times by the time it goes through the airport, by the time it goes to the dentist's office, by the time it goes to one place or another. It's the photograph that gets seen by more people than anything else. So the photography is just really important for artists and for people to be able to experience the art who can never see it in person. So the photograph is very important. And I'm always anxious to, especially if I have a good photographer, which I'm not. And this, my friend Steve is, and Steve Carr, and he lives here in Venice and travels all over the world. And he's got photographs that he's done all over the world in all kinds of exotic locations. And gee, what a special thing it is for me to be able to have someone of that caliber film my work. And the photograph is almost as important as the original work. Hey, I tell you, the experience of putting this piece together has just been wonderful for me. The process of making the art, and then in this case building the installation, is so therapeutic. And the process of building this whole thing was a work of art in itself. And you know, when you're building something like this, it's always a constant decisions. You got to decide what's going to go where, which pieces work the best with other pieces. It's a decision-making process, and it's just a lot of fun to do. And you know, that's why art and art classes for kids is so important, because a good art teacher is going to teach you how to think, not what to think, but it's going to give you tools to learn how to solve problems. And when I started out with this installation, building it here in the last 4 days, I started out with just a blank piece of land that was covered by bricks, and then built a structure to go on top, and then started laying in all the rocks and the rest of the structure before the art ever got here. So it's a matter of having a vision, following the vision, and decision making. And that's why art is so important, and that's why we need it in all the schools. It gives you a method of discovery and how to make something from nothing. When I started here, it was just rocks and wood and a place that was empty. And I filled an empty space with my imagination. And it's just a wonderful feeling. And you know, when I start every project, I've got high hopes. And when I finish every project, woo, I feel good. And I knew that I would.